We haven't been recording for 20 minutes. No.
We have some technical difficulties with OBS today.
So the fancy setup thing that we've been having is OBS, right? And at some point, I guess, I apparently need to double check all of my settings before we start recording because my sound wasn't going through, Rebecca's sound wasn't going through. At one point, I accidentally deleted our cameras, so...
Bunch of technical difficulties. We clicked a button and it fucked everything up.
It did not work.
So we're just gonna do this. I cut my hair super short. This was one of the reveals. I cut my hair super short. It's a little all over the place. Don't mind too much. I cut it super short because I went to go help my parents in Louisiana, and I didn't want to have long hair in the humid climate of Louisiana. And it was a good decision because we didn't really keep the air conditioning going, and we were loading up a U-Haul because the parents decided not to get any sort of movers to help, and that was probably the worst decision. So I won by having short hair and a bandana to keep the bangs out the way. That's why my hair is so short. And then DJ was making fun of my little hairs in the back being out of order.
So she had like all her hair over one side, and then one hair was going whoop, whoop.
Yeah, well, and now I'm subconsciously wearing my hood. So roll that intro.
This time we don't have to wait for it to go through because we have to put it in post. Beaver flip there.
Huh?
You got the beaver flip.
Oh yeah, I do. It's the Superman swirl. Don't give me the beaver flip, Jesus. I'm hiding it all.
I'm sorry. Oh my God.
You're the worst. I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Deanna. And we're
the Halfwit Sisters. Alrighty. So we talked about this for 20 minutes, but now we got to do it again. We have just finished our playthrough of It Takes Two. I can't tell if the computer. Okay, DJ just stopped.
I'm just sulking.
So, we finished our playthrough of It Takes Two. We did a review of it already, but we're gonna go through it just a little bit more, and then we'll get into our big topic, which is the review of the new Cinderella with Camila Cabello, which DJ and I like to watch. DJ more than I do, but we've pretty much watched every bad adaptation of Cinderella since we can remember, including all of like the really bad adaptations that came through like Disney. So we're going to talk about those here in a bit. But to start off this episode, we're going to talk a little bit more about It Takes Two and why we were so disappointed. Through editing for DJ and for me watching it through playback, I was definitely one of our views on our videos. For sure. I was excited watching back through our episodes. We re-released a total of 12 episodes for it, and it was real fun to watch us go from like being excited playing this game to like by the 12th episode being absolutely angry at everything that had to do with his parents. We're like, oh, we're so excited. Look at all these things we're doing. And then by the end, we're like, these parents can rot in hell. They could just lose all their limbs right now. We don't care. They could be stuck as these little monsters. We won't care.
Yeah. I think the one thing that stayed consistent was we enjoyed kind of exploring to see what like interactables they had and the mini games.
That was pretty consistent, yeah. We enjoyed a lot of times when they changed up the mechanics. Like that was a constant in the game. They changed up the gameplay pretty consistently. You didn't have a chance to really get used to it quite often. So there's like times where they played with magnetism. There were times where they played with time. Duplication was another one. Hammer and nails.
Yeah. The watering where you were a plant half the time.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of things like that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the mechanics of it. I hated the story.
Yeah. What really brought the story down for us what we complained about the most probably in all the episodes was how it seemed like the wife was being scapegoated. Everything seemed to be her problem. The husband complained that she wasn't around enough. The husband complained that she was working too much. The husband complained that she didn't help enough. And the other side of it is like we never heard her complain about what Cody did. What Cody didn't do, what Cody didn't offer, right? It was always that Mai was the problem. And even when it came down to the book, like it always seemed like everything was being pushed into Mai towards Mai.
Yeah.
And we really kept asking, like, what does Cody bring to the table? Is he the stay-at-home dad? And we only got like maybe twice 2 clues in total of the entire play session that told us what he was, maybe, and that was most likely a stay-at-home dad.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like, we have no problem if that was the case, but we really wanted it to be like in our face about it. We wanted the game to own up to it.
Like, acknowledge that, because like a stay-at-home parent is a legit thing, and they are super important to their households. Just acknowledge that.
Right.
They deserve acknowledgement, and if you're going to make a character that seems to be based off that, just acknowledge it, because then we know, okay, yes, she's the breadwinner, but he's taking care of everything at the house.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Instead of just, oh, he does something and complains about her all the time.
Right. It also would have put a lot more emphasis on what the problem is with the relationship. If it had been that he was a stay-at-home dad, she was the breadwinner, and the problem was that they didn't have time as husband and wife, that would have been a lot more hard-hitting than us not knowing what he did and him just complaining that she was never at home, right? If he was also a career husband and they were both out doing something and they weren't there for the daughter, that also would have been pretty hard hitting too.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times we were left with no sense of what the daughter was or what the relationship was with the daughter for the two parents either. And that I'm just now realizing we have no idea what the real relationship with the parents and the daughter is either, other than Cody was good with the daughter.
We did get a lot like Mai talking about things that she had done with the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Like the moon monkey or whatever.
Moon baboon.
Moon baboon. My got her moon baboon.
Right. We got senses that they went on family trips, but we also saw that stopped, like, that was, like, when she was younger.
Yeah. And then we did get Cody talking about how they built that entire castle. So it's like, we do know that they did things with the daughter. It doesn't seem like they really ever did anything together, because they never really talked about trips that they took together as a family. So it's just like the entire relationship in total of the family unit was just lacking in story.
Yeah. So there's a lot of just background we felt that was missing that would have really beefed up the conflict that was going on between these two characters. So that's probably our biggest complaint, that made it super hard for us to like enjoy it, because we spent so much time complaining about the relationship between these characters and why we should care.
Yeah.
Oh, and DJ pointed this out. She thought this was super funny. I did not watch the kiss scene. I didn't watch the kiss scene.
You straight up, they started kissing and you went.
Yeah. I don't watch kiss scenes. It doesn't matter if it is a heterosexual or if it's an LGBT scene. I don't watch kiss scenes. I don't watch them. I don't even watch sex scenes. I look away every single time. It makes me uncomfortable. It really does. So, and this one went so long. It went so long. They made them spin, and then they gave them fireworks. There was no reason for it.
And you knew it was coming because they had that slow hover fly to each other.
Yeah, we were like, we didn't want to do it first. we were just like, we just like tap the Y, and then it goes, no, you need to hold the Y, and we're like, ugh. I don't watch it, and like, I knew this was a habit of mine. I watched a movie recently, and there was a kiss scene in it, and I looked away, and like, the husband was watching the movie with me, and so when I looked away, he turned to me and he's like, "How you doing, Ray? I know this is a hard time for you." And I was like, "Shut up! This isn't a hard time. I just don't like watching these things." It's just that well, I fast forward through that stuff, but I can fast forward through this one. Why did they have to give him fireworks?
Why did we have to do it at all?
Why couldn't
we left the ending ambiguous onto if they were getting back together or not, so that you can interpret it anyway. Because when the daughter straight up asked, "Are you guys getting back together?" they're like, "We're always going to be here for you." They turn it back onto her, which is great, because that leaves that, hey, they might not get through this, and they might go ahead and divorce, but they'll always be there for the daughter, which is the important part.
Right.
Because the daughter ran away because she thought she was to blame, and they're like, "No, this ain't your fault."
That was another thing. What was it like? There was no showing on how she got to that thought process. There really was no showing on how the daughter got to that thought process. It was just like, suddenly I'm the problem. And I was like, how did we get to this point, child? There was like, "Mom, Dad, I want you to be friends again." And the daughter was like, there was plenty of times where we got to wrap this up. So we're going to get to this. We'll finish this off. There were tons of times where we knew this was supposed to be an American family and like some American place. And like that, they say that we're supposed to be in America in some American place. And the daughter sounds British as fuck. And there was one point where we're running through, I think it was like the mole section, and they go, "Privacy," and both you and I just go, "Well, that's British as fuck." I was trying to think, like, where in the US have we heard anybody ever say privacy, right?
You know what? I think the daughter watched too much Peppa Pig when she was a kid. That's where her accent had to come from.
Where? Like, is it in the north, like Maine? Maine? Is there anybody in Maine that says privacy? Boston? Do you guys say privacy? So overall, we ended up. I was a bit more generous with our score because I had said I gave it mostly for the gameplay because they changed it. The gameplay was slick. They changed it up often enough, and they had a lot of interactables and that sort of stuff that made it fun to play. The story wise, like, it was good, but they could have done better. So I gave it a half-wit.
The gameplay just didn't save it for me because the characters just, they annoyed me the entire time. The story was just terrible. Like, everything else about it, but that story just, and the characters just didn't save it for me, and I gave it a quarter wit.
Okay. So now, let's get on to the real meat of our show here.
Okay, so Becca mentioned this. I really, really enjoy watching Cinderella adaptations. If there's a Cinderella adaptation coming out, like, I'm like, yes, there, got it. As I was doing my list for today, I found even more Cinderella adaptations that I haven't seen, and I'm gonna need to go watch. But let me swap this stuff around. Give me a sec. Share this with you. Can you see that, Becca?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to start in 1950 with the original Disney adaptation, where it all started, all right?
Ooh, Cinderella. Cinderella.
Yes. This one, it's a classic. It's kid-friendly. It inspired the sequels. It inspired remakes. It's one of the first princesses people think of. You know, it's the classic. How can we hate it? You know, and like I said, it had 2 sequels, and A Twist in Time is actually pretty good. It's
Twist in Time is fantabulous.
Yeah,
it brought like, before we're like, oh, there's Prince Charming, he's whatever, but A Twist in Time gave Prince Charming the personality.
Gave him his charm.
Oh, it made him so good. Made him so good. When he jumped out the window.
Yes.
He jumped out the window. God. You're not going anywhere. All right. He jumps out the window. Freaking fantastic.
What's great is they even animated the look at the window as like, and that thought process going through his head. I'm not allowed to leave out the door, so. All right. Okay. Woo!
Yeah.
Just like
Dreams Come True is more like an anthology. It's like all the bits and pieces of other people around Cinderella.
Yeah. I want to say that's the one where we get more personality from both her stepsisters too. In their story.
Yeah. The one that's the most interesting is the one who also is like the redhead.
Drusilla.
Drusilla. Yeah, she's the one that gets a real story in the Dreams Come True.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah. So, you know, those were good. Love Twist in Time. I think my favorite ever After.
That's Mom's as well. Our mom loves Ever After.
It was a beautiful retelling. You got to see a relationship between the two grow. And, I mean, you got Drew Barrymore. She saves herself. You have the scene with the gypsies where she's like, you promise I can have everything that I can carry? And she's like, great. And she picks up the prince and walks away. And then you have the scene with the wedding where he's marrying the foreign princess, and the princess is just like, and so everyone's dead silent. It's so awkward. It's great.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that one, but Mom's favorite was definitely this one. This one was probably one of the few movies that put Drew Barrymore on the map.
Yeah.
It's like at the beginning, it's not at the beginning because of her career, but it was towards the middle of her career. She started as a child star first, and then this one really took her into her adult career.
Yeah. So it was a very good adaptation. Seriously, one of the best.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Robert, oh my God, Rodgers and Hammerstein Cinderella from 1997.
Oh, this was such a good one. The cast is diverse. The dancing and the music numbers, fantastic.
You have Brandy as Cinderella, which was, she did awesome. Bernadette Peters, icon in the Broadway world, as the evil stepmother. Whitney Houston as the fairy godmother. Whoopi Goldberg as the queen.
And she played that so well. Those squeaks are just great.
It was colorblind casting, and they didn't make any references on any of their race, which there have been other shows, especially previously, where they do colorblind casting, and then they shoehorn in some line of, well, because of what we are, and it's like, no, that's not colorblind casting. Like, if you're gonna be colorblind casting, do it right, like they did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The only thing that I wish, like Brandy had a great voice, and I felt like she held back a lot in some of her songs, and I really wanted her to go all out in like a few of them, and there's like one or two of them that I felt like she held back too much on. I just wanted her to go full on them.
Yeah.
But Whitney Houston, she killed it.
She owned it. So, yeah. And I think Brandy probably held back because she was holding truer to what's on the page, which is
Meek Cinderella, yeah.
Yeah. Well, also the Meek and just what's on the sheet music. So she was holding truer to its that, instead of letting herself enjoy some of those songs. Yeah. But otherwise, that music was great. So,
and the Prince was fantabulous. Like, he had a great voice too.
Yes.
Next,
Ella Enchanted, 2004.
Is that a?
Yeah, it's a Cinderella remake.
I didn't think it was.
She had the evil stepmom. She had Lucy Punch as one of her stepsisters, who is a stepsister in so many different Cinderellas. She was cursed with having to be obedient, but she was, it's technically a Cinderella remake. She meets the prince, dances at the ball, has a fairy godmother.
You're right. And that is, I think this one is probably like the best departure from all like the Cinderella. Like you could probably pass this off as not being a Cinderella. I wouldn't have called it a Cinderella, but now that I'm looking at this, the way that the E is stylized, it's got that C in it.
You're seeing it now?
Yo!
And Somebody to Love, in this one, fabulous. They took that music, owned it, and paid homage to its original in the best way possible.
Yeah. Oh man, the many ways that they made that the curse worked. Like, I still, like, the most iconic one is where they yell at her to stop, and she freezes over the barrels.
Yeah.
DJ, stop rubbing your eyes.
I'm sorry,
you're making it worse.
So itchy.
Did you take your allergy medicine?
I did.
Do you have eye drops?
I do. Let me go
Go
put
use
some
them.
on. All right,
Pause.
pause.
I need a compilation of every time I tell you to go do something about your allergies. Elena Enchanted is probably one of my most favorites because it was such an interesting way that they made, like, they used fairy tales in general. You've got all the classics of like the fairies and the idea of them giving gifts and how that can just go wrong. And I guess those would also be like one of the first departures of, especially in Disney film, but like one of the first departures of the princess being rescued by somebody else. Like if she's rescuing herself, then she's not being rescued by anybody else.
Okay.
Oh.
I know you kept talking, but I cannot hear you.
That's fine. You can watch you back in the edits.
But yeah, so it's all Enchanted. I enjoyed it. Next up, we have the Cinderella 2015 version. Not everyone's favorite. I enjoyed it. Had Kate Blanchett. What more did I need? And her dress, I really enjoyed. Unlike another Disney princess who had a live action remake.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if I remember it. I know I watched it.
Yeah, it was good.
Maybe I didn't watch it. I don't know if I watched this one. Maybe it was so forgettable I just didn't.
Yeah.
If you put the eye drops in and then you rub your eyes, it doesn't help.
I'm not rubbing my eyes. I'm rubbing my cheeks.
Uh-huh.
All right. Then we have A Cinderella Story in 2014 with Hilary Duff.
Yeah, I knew this one. 2004.
Reasons I liked it: Hilary Duff and Jennifer Coolidge. I didn't need anything else. That's why I liked it.
This was one of it wasn't like, it didn't go to theaters, right? This wasn't one that went to theaters. No, this was a Disney original.
No, it wasn't a Disney original. It was Warner Brothers.
Oh, was it Warner Brothers? Oh, okay. Which one was a Disney original? There was one that was a Disney original.
I don't remember.
I will figure it out later. But yes, I remember this one.
Look, this started a series of Cinderella stories, which the next one, another Cinderella story in 2008 with Selena Gomez.
Yes.
And Jane Lynch.
This is a Disney original one.
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I know Gomez was a Disney star, but yeah, this wasn't a Disney original.
At the time, she was a Disney star, yeah. That guy looks way too old for her.
Yeah. I'm
like,
not...
half of these people look like way too old. This was back when, I mean, this is still a practice, but that dude and that lady towards the right, like behind the guy, looks way too fucking old.
Yeah. This was... The age difference is never really clear, especially in this one, but he's supposed to be a high schooler, but he's not in high school anymore because he's a star, and then he's going to go back to high school to like do research for a part, and it's weird. But I enjoyed it. It's a Cinderella story, and
Another Cinderella story.
it's another Cinderella story. But speaking of Cinderella stories, there were more. So,
Oh my god.
yeah, there was with Lucy Hale, Once Upon a Song. I watched it.
Not a good look.
Yeah, it was not it's a forgettable movie as well. If the Shoe Fits with Sophia Carson. Again, another kind of forgettable one. These two were really not the greatest Cinderella stories.
A Shoe Fits looks like it's a ripoff of what's the High School Musical?
No, I would say it's more of kind of, I want to say it was more like Step Up.
Step Up? But the poster makes it look like it wanted to be Grease.
Yeah. it was not a great one, but it's part of the series.
Okay.
Then you have A Cinderella Christmas Wish.
Stop! Yo, what's that Starstruck one?
This is the newest
recent one?
Yes, this is the newest A Cinderella story. Came out this year. I actually enjoyed this one. So her family owned a farm, when of course now she has the step siblings and the stepmom, and it's actually like a step siblings, like boy and a girl.
Yo, do they need to do the hoedown?
And then he is an actor, and he comes to their town, and they're filming a movie, and she like auditions for the part, but then she like embarrasses herself and is told to get off set, and so she ends up dressing like a guy and getting the part as a guy. And they're using her farm, and her stepmom wants to sell the farm, but turns out she can't because she's technically not the person who owns the farm. The girl. It was amusing, and it ended up with him wanting to help run her farm while she goes off and be an actor. I enjoyed it. It was a musical. They sung.
They sung. How many country songs were there?
Not many country songs. They're not country songs.
Well, okay, so how many pop songs did they steal?
Oh my god. I think it's actually all original music.
What? No! They did original music, and the Camila Cabello song just like used existing ones. Oh no!
Oh my god. But yeah, out of all of these, I recommend the original with Hilary Duff, Selena Gomez if you're feeling it, and then a Starstruck. I really enjoyed Starstruck.
Where can you watch Starstruck at?
You should be able to rent it on Amazon.
Okay.
But I would double check because I'm sure you can find it free somewhere. But yeah, so and these next ones are kind of just honorable mentions. Cinderella and the Four Knights. It's a K drama. It was okay. It's definitely different, and I think they really kind of just use Cinderella as like she has a stepsister and stepmom, so, but her dad's not dead. Her dad's just never there because he's traveling for work. 10th Kingdom.
Oh, we watched that. We had a friend that was super into that.
Yeah. It's amusing.
Huh?
It's an amusing miniseries.
It's a long one too.
Yeah. Enchanted.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Into the Woods, the 1991 version, which is the one with Bernadette Peters. And it's the original Broadway cast. Really enjoyed it. I will say I do love Agony in the 2014 version better though, because those two princes just like were feeling it, and it was hilarious. After the Ball is another one that was amusing.
I've never heard that one.
Uh, Descendants, you actually get Drizzy, which is Drusilla's daughter, in the next one.
Is it good?
I enjoyed it. It's a Disney Channel movie. These are Disney originals. I enjoy it. It's, the villain's kids.
See, I knew there was Disney originals.
You're like, eventually we'll get one.
I've been on the fence on watching them. I'm watching The Descendants. I wasn't sure if I should.
Yeah. I will say I was sad to hear about the passing of Cameron. It's the boy in the middle here.
How did he die?
He was sick for a long time, and it caught up with him. I don't remember the exact things, but it was very sad to hear about his passing.
Okay.
He I know that hit a lot of kids hard because of the thing. So, but the movies were enjoyable to watch. So, and then now we get to talk about Cinderella 2021.
Oh my gosh. Okay, first off, before we click off, I want to talk about that, the guy in the back there, the fairy godmother.
Okay. Billy Porter?
He looks fantastic.
Yes.
He looks fantastic. Of all the people on here, he looks fantastic. And he was filling his role in the movie. Like, he sold his part in the movie.
Yes.
Okay. Whatever you need to click now, you can click.
Okay. No, that's where I was ending. That's my slideshow for today. Thank you. I worked very hard on that.
The lady behind him, who is she?
Adina Menzel. So she is Elsa from Frozen. She was Maureen in the original, Rent. She is a Broadway legend as well. I enjoyed her portrayal of the stepmom because it wasn't just like the evil stepmom. She did care, just not in this. She didn't have the same principles as Cinderella, or that you would like want from like a modern day woman, but you can tell she was shaped by her experiences when she was younger.
So, okay, let's do this. We're going to talk about, I want to talk about the message that was trying to be sent, that I felt like they were trying to send in this movie, that they ultimately were like failing. Okay, because her character, the stepmom character, Cabello's character, and then like the princess, were like three different things that we're trying to go here with this message. Okay, the stepmom's character, what was her message?
Conform,
right? Conform, find a husband and he'll take care of you. Don't stand out. Don't try to do these things.
Don't follow your dreams.
Yeah. Be the trophy wife, essentially, is what she was saying, right? Be the trophy wife. Cinderella, or Ella, whatever. Yeah. Ella's whole message is what?
Is follow your dreams.
Follow your dreams. She wants to be a businesswoman. She wants to make dresses and be this big thing. What's the princess's message?
Smart.
That's personality traits.
Yeah, I know, but oh my god, use your intelligence to better the world.
Yeah. So we have these three people, And the movie's like, look at the way that these people are, but we're gonna tell you that especially in Ella's songs, it was all about her message was so freaking mixed. Her thing was all about, I want to be this businesswoman, and then all of her and I don't need anybody to help me be this businesswoman, but all of her songs were about needing somebody.
The only one that wasn't was the One in a Million.
Yeah. All of her songs were about needing love, and love will keep me strong. But that wasn't what her actual story was about.
Yeah.
And it was so frustrating for me.
Yeah.
So, like, beyond, like, everybody was tearing all of the reviews that I saw were tearing, most of the reviews that I saw, I shouldn't say all of them, most of the reviews that I saw were tearing the show up because of the songs and how the songs were being sung. I was really frustrated because of the amount of messages. The only one that really sold me was the stepmom. She was the only one whose message never got mixed.
Yeah.
And I loved her actual, like, villain song. It was awesome. And the princess, she was played up for laughs. And that was really frustrating because the show wanted to be something like a feminist message.
Yeah.
And the entire time, anytime they brought her in, it was played as a joke. She was like, they would say something, and she would say, "Would you like to hear my 4-point plan on how to bring in renewable energy?" And they're like, "No." And so if there was a laugh track, that would have been when the laugh track came in. Oh, look at this girl thinking she's so smart, right?
Yeah.
Or there's a time in there is like, "What other choice do you have? I'm your only son." Ching, and this, like, the metal drops, and then she's like, "Was that too obvious?"
Yeah.
Like, that's not a feminist message.
Yeah. Because it's one of those things, she was obviously the better choice to inherit. So but again, the entire thing of like, oh, the woman doesn't lead. You have, but that, like, yeah, they really did just play her for laughs. And kind of just, like, give her the throne at the end because they had no one else.
Yeah. That was my that was just kind of my at the end there. It wasn't just because she was the better pick. It was also because he just decided, I don't want to do the throne because I don't like the throne. I don't like the throne, and I also want to be with this girl that I've only known for, I don't know, however many, like, time was very obscure, but it seemed like they've only known each other for like a week at most.
Yeah. Which is the same with many of the Cinderellas, is they usually don't know each other for very long. I think Ever After and the 2015 Cinderella are the only two that they seem to have known each other for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
But most Cinderellas, they tend to only know each other for like a week, if that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So tell me what your feelings are about this movie.
So this one, like, I loved Idina Menzel's story, her line, same, loved that. With Cinderella's, yeah, there were a lot of mixed messages. I was pleasantly surprised on her acting. She did actually pretty well with her acting, and obviously did not bad on her singing. The way they changed the songs, yeah, I'm right there with a lot of people. Why you have you have so many people in this movie that are amazing singers and that music. Costuming I enjoyed. Billy Porter's fairy godmother, amazing. Knew his part, worked his part. But yeah, a lot of it I have the same issues that you had of like the missed messages with the princess being the only choice because the son abdicated. But at the same time, I'm glad he abdicated because he probably would have run the country into the ground, and he had no good ideas. So, and it was a nice twist of like her not giving up her dream for him, but him stepping away from his expectations. So bits and pieces of this movie were great. Overall, it was kind of a shit show.
Yeah. The arguing between the thing that I liked was the arguing between the king and the queen.
Yeah.
That was actually really compelling, where the queen just got upset with how the king started to act and her calling him out on it. That was really interesting.
Their relationship was really cool because you could tell they had cared for each other, and then at some point the king just diverted into I am the king, and she was just left going, and I'm the queen. And she really did use her limited powers to her advantage. Okay, you want to be the king? I'm not gonna deal with you. You are not the man I married. You used to serenade me and respect me, and now
I'm not gonna lie, I fast forward through the serenade part. Huh?
I said you have to have your throne an inch higher.
Yeah, I fast forwarded through the serenading part.
Oh, good. It was
bad. That's the whole point of it.
Yeah, it was played up for comedy. And it was I'm out of drink. Yes. Like he comes in full armor.
Yeah, no, I saw the beginning and then I saw the end. This is like I saw the beginning and then I saw the end. Like,
I am kind of with the majority, it seems, of like the people I've seen on TikTok talking about this with James Gordon? James...
The comedian?
Yeah. The comedian that's in like all the musicals recently.
Yeah.
What the fuck does he have on Hollywood that he gets a part in every single musical? Yeah. I am kind of over it. But the other two mice I found incredibly hilarious. And it was amusing, those few scenes of them as humans, of like, oh, look what I can do. So getting like things of that, it's just like kind of world building and character building of outside the story of like, you don't get that a lot. And so it was amusing to see them just like intrigued by what's happening around them.
At the same time, they weren't needed.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
They absolutely were not needed. You could have pulled them. You could have ripped them out of the entire show and been fine. Like, you definitely could have been fine without needing them, giving them a personality at all. You could have been totally fine. The only reason why they did it is because they had to have the mice, just so that they could have the coach and whatever. Like, they could have worked around it. It's fucking magic. Like, come on.
Well, I mean, you say that, and that, like, the mice were very needed in the original 1950 version. They helped Cinderella get out of get the key and get out, and help make her original dress that the stepsisters destroyed.
Right. They were needed then. They weren't needed now.
Yeah. So it's like, and then I want to say in the 2015 version, they did some of that stuff, but I also think maybe they didn't. I can't remember the mice in that one. So I don't think they even used the mice in that one in the same vein. So they really just did, Cinderella, mice, let's also just give them personality and like have these little scenes with them. While I enjoy the scenes, yes, they were completely unneeded. It was amusing to watch, but for the overall story of it, yeah. You didn't give the story. You gave personality to the horses too, so like you really didn't need that. Also, the costuming was a little all over the place. I didn't understand like the time period that they were trying to go for, because at one point they had like the grinders too as part of the dancing. I'm like, what time period are we fucking in?
Or the one that caught me off guard, not so much costuming, but like music wise, was the guy who was doing the rapping, the town caller.
Yeah. The music didn't have, like, when you have a musical, not all the songs are going to sound the same, but they sound together. There's a cohesiveness.
Yeah.
This was definitely not cohesive. You had random rapping with all this other ballads and pop songs. And then Someone to Love, which was just, he acted that. He did. Thank you for acting.
Is that when he was singing it with the choir?
Yeah.
Okay.
The song itself was terrible, but at least he acted it.
Yeah. It was also really weird because it seemed like that was the only one that made it seem like it wasn't part of the musical, right? Because all the other ones felt like they were just like part of the world. And that one was the only one that stood out as if it wasn't part of the world. It was just him and the choir just singing it up. Right? That was the only one. Like, it felt like at any time somebody could walk in there and be like, what the hell are you all doing? Right? And they would be like, just having fun. But all the other ones felt like everybody was just ready to break into a musical at any point.
Yeah.
Except that one song. Like, that's what it felt like.
Another thing that kind of also annoyed me was her sitting on the statue and how that was such an issue.
Do
you remember that scene?
Yeah, I did.
It is just like really randomly out there of like, if you're in a big town square like that, everyone's going to be climbing on it, especially children are going to be climbing on that shit to get a better view.
We've seen it. We've been around there.
Yeah. So it's like, that just kind of, like, they used it as a draw attention
her standout moment.
Yeah.
Her standout moment and his moment to find the woman that he loved.
And that's awkward. That awkward. Oh, sorry. No. Okay, I'll get down.
Yeah. So overall, if you had to give this movie a rating, what is our half-wit rating?
Half. I'd give it a half a wit.
You give it a half?
Yeah, it's one of those movies that I'm not going to go and, like, try to watch again. I was tempted to, so I could get better, like, talking points. I ran out of time. But it's a good one watch.
I agree. I'd give it a half as well. It's good for what it is. If you can ignore all of the stuff. If you just want to watch it once, that's about it. I'd give it a half on that. Mostly because I want to support all of the people, all of like the diversity that they were trying to go for.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want to support, because we don't have nearly enough of that.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Other words, the messaging was off. The songs choices, come on, y'all.
Yeah.
You could do better.
And if you're gonna, it's a jukebox musical, that's what it is. They pulled songs and adapted them to their story.
That's
If
the
you
first time
can't
I've heard that.
if you can't find pop or established songs to fit your message, just write your own, or
Just get
don't.
Lin-Manuel to do it. That's apparently all he does now.
Just, jukebox musicals are fun. Like Mamma Mia is a jukebox musical. That's a fun song. That's a fun musical. But like Singing in the Rain's a jukebox musical. Like these are fun. The stories help further. The music helps further the stories. If you can't find your songs that you want to help further the stories, do what Singing in the Rain did and just slightly change them. To fit your story.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just shoehorning and mixing up your messages.
Yeah. That's where we're at on that. So here's what we got coming up next. So yes.
It's going to be spooky season, Halloween.
Yes. October is around the corner, so we have decided to play a bunch of spooky things. We're going to be playing at least 2 weeks of Phasmophobia, which is my favorite game.
I don't
currently.
like it.
Oh, it's going to be fine. DJ and I are going to be playing that. Maybe we can coax another friend of ours into playing with us. That way we have 3 instead of just 2, but we'll be able to play it either way. So we're going to be doing that. It's going to be fun. 2 weeks of that. And then a new game is coming out, Back 4 Blood, which is kind of like the same as Left 4 Dead. Has kind of the same thing. DJ and I used to play Left 4 Dead like crazy when it was on Xbox 360. Yes. You want to say something?
It's by the same developers for Left 4 Dead. And it's one of the few games that's like completely cross-platform. So I know my boyfriend's excited for it. I'm excited for it. And zombie games are actually kind of one of my favorite.
Yeah.
Shooter zombie games are my favorite.
Originally, we were thinking about playing World War Z for the entire month, but then we were like, no, let's play Back 4 Blood. Yeah, so we're going to play. Yeah. On our off times, we usually play State of Decay 2. Especially because they just had Tumble Valley come out. The
Rumble Valley.
Yeah, and we've been playing that on our off times. But this time, we're going to be playing Back 4 Blood for your all's entertainment. So the first 2 weeks, we're going to be playing Phasmophobia, and then the next 2 weeks after that, we'll be playing Back 4 Blood. So if you want to see those, you know what to do.
Like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you're notified of all of our videos. And leave a comment down below on what's your favorite Cinderella adaptation, and what did you think of the Camila Cabello Cinderella.
If you watched it, or if you're not, or if you're planning to watch it, or if you watched it and then you want to come back and tell us what you feel like, you can do that too. We're here. And if you had a chance to play It Takes Two, you can also let us know how you felt about that. Yeah. We definitely had strong feelings. Tell us what your feelings are. Other than that, we'll see you next time.
Bye.